Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to more Fortnite news. I hope you guys all enjoy. Going to be our last Fortnite episode for the entire year. Now, I'm sure you've heard that on all of your channels out there. You do watch, we'll see you next year, which is true here as well. We will see you guys next year. A brief thank you, though, for all of you guys who have watched our Fortnite news episodes over the past 6 months. I really do appreciate you guys. But, of course, in bigger news today, we've had a lot of drama this past weekend. And yet again, I honestly am quite surprised, but it did happen again, and I honestly have no idea how. Once again, on a big tournament day, guys, it was actually Epic this past Sunday, releasing a second update on a Sunday. We don't see this very often with Epic, and it just so happened to be on the grand final day of WSOE. If you guys do not know WSOE, their third tournament this time around, $100,000 prize pool, and on grand final day, yes, we did see it, the release of the boombox. That was pretty much the biggest part of this update, and another game-changing update on the day of a grand finals of a pretty large tournament. Obviously, not your Fortnite fall skirmish or summer skirmish finals, which we did see Glider redeploy, the sword, the plane released on those days, or a couple days before those events. And yet again, Epic, guys, has not failed to surprise us. Yes, they release a game-changing update for pro players, and just I feel like, especially on a Sunday, right? We've never seen this. They could have easily waited till Tuesday to release the boombox. I think you guys could agree. We've all seen our fair share of negative feedback already about this. It is certainly game-changing, definitely throws a wrench in competitive play, and they still decide to release it anyway. And I don't really know the breaking point for pro players out there. Obviously, a large enough prize pool where these pros are going to keep on complaining, but they'll probably keep on playing as well. Alongside that, besides that huge part of it, you guys can react how you want. I already made my own video about this. The 3 times prior to this weekend that Epic has done this, we talked about Fortnite Fall Skirmish Finals. There was a random week throughout Summer Skirmish and also Summer Skirmish Finals. They released these huge updates, and at this point in time, it almost seems like Myth has it right, guys, that Epic is just trolling us at this point. They know what they're doing, and they choose to do it anyway.
Let's first off talk about this new item that we keep bringing up, the boombox. You said you had some words on that.
Epic is trolling.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you going to do to troll back?
I'm going to abuse the living hell out of it.
And then despite that, I think WSOE this time around actually had their own amount of problems. I think broadcast-wise it was fine, although there were many follower games, or I guess you get viewing streams out there that were doing better than their stream. This is a heavily broadcasted tournament, though. I think it was still very well run. Again, $100,000 prize pool. Besides that, though, the qualifying rounds were a bit of an issue because there weren't even qualifying rounds. It was qualifying round, one game. Now, there were heavily invited pros. There was actually 25 invited pro teams and duos out there. It was a duos event, so 50 invited pros technically, and it was a long list of teams, guys. Ghost and Liquid and TSM, some great players were there, so I can't complain. Alongside that, though, the other 50 players, the other 25 duos would actually have to qualify through one game. So we saw a few pro players out there who, of course, were not invited. They had to qualify, and you got one chance. We already know Fortnite's RNG enough, so I would say the only problem I saw broadcast-wise, really overall, it was a great event. We saw some great clutch plays and some great uses of the boombox. The only problem I had, though, was some fair complaints out there. One qualifying round in a game that's already RNG based just doesn't seem fair. So it might have been a time constraint. Maybe just they already knew they had plenty of pros out there. They wanted to see some no-name players, and well, certainly enough, guys, of those 50 players, many of them were actually some no-names or lesser known names, which is great, but still, as a pro player, when you're trying to compete for a salary and it's already an RNG game, you get one chance to qualify in a battle royale. It doesn't seem too fair. But besides that, guys, yet again, another great event, very fun to watch. I do prefer duos to solos. I think solos have been pretty crazy, especially when it came down to some epic events. The solos just seem to be very, very hectic. A lot of kills, almost too many kills to keep up with. And as you guys know, it was actually a pretty good event in terms of top 10. A lot of pros did round out the top 10. A lot of lesser known names, though, inside the top 20. Alongside that, it's actually Cease and Elevate taking the first place title, guys. Saf and Zate following closely after them. It was actually Lamar and Morgoth. Morgoth had some insane games. I think it was actually game 2 or 3. That guy is looking extremely talented, and again, kind of surprised he has yet some announcements to make, I'm sure, himself. Alongside that, we also have Rux and Psalm. They took heavy advantage of the boombox. They also placed top 5. You guys know many other names out there. Bizzle, Demo, they of course also rounded out the top 10. So again, pro players in the top 10, there were plenty of them, but also some no names out there in the top 20. It's also great to see that. Overall, a great event, but again, the pro players made obvious use of that final, when the pro players all gather up, final circles are traveling, they're all siloing up, and you can imagine if you have high ground in a boombox, you just chuck it down, and well, it destroys everything in its sight. So it makes for for a pretty easy game and pretty low skill, which does of course kind of piss some people off, which I totally understand. So leave a comment down below what you guys think about this from a viewership perspective in terms of planes and now boomboxes. It just seems these updates, I'm not really sure where they're going, which is of course our next story bouncing off of that. Some rumors out there as of last week thanks to Fortnite. I'll link the full video down below, as he has apparently glitched the replay system. Going underneath Ice Castle, he actually revealed these new eggs. We don't know what's inside of them. We actually had a little ultraviolet little test of the eggs themselves. They do reveal pretty clearly, the images inside them do reveal some sort of animal. We can imagine some sort of creature, probably going to be most likely dragons. I think the most relevant theory we've seen so far, we already had the Valkyrie skin. She already has her wings on her back. Alongside that, her dragon redeploy. People maybe do think the mythic item, the mythic item relevancy here, we want to continue that, or at least Epic might. Maybe you guys don't want to, which is okay after what we saw of the sword. But what do mythic swords and bows and staffs, what do they generally kill? They generally kill dragons. And when I think of mythic and you think of Game of Thrones and that kind of stuff, you definitely think of dragons. So there's again a very, very stringent theory out there that dragons might be next. My one issue with this, if it does happen, I hope it doesn't. Throughout 2018, I think we can really sum up the past 6 months with some outrageous updates, not only outrageously timed, but also just outrageous in general. Planes being one of them, glider redeploy being taken away and then put back in and then taken away, and then of course the sword itself lasting just about a week before they finally realized, hey, this is actually way too overpowered. A long list of other weapons out there, imbalances and issues that the game has had ever since adding these crazy weapons and items into its meta. Now of course the boombox being recently added at the very end of the year, it does not shed a great light on Epic, and I'm really weary about what their future does hold in terms of these mythic items. And if dragons are true, imagine guys, a plane is already overpowered enough in destroying builds as well as in kills. Imagine a dragon, how overpowered that would be, especially because we know when an item is first added by Epic, it's already overpowered enough. But also, very lastly, to wrap it up, guys, despite some other stories out there late 2018 around DrLupo, you cannot doubt this guy has tremendous feats out there in the scene in terms of streaming. And of course, in most recent news, guys, his charity streams throughout 2018 have been groundbreaking. A huge props to this guy. He has broken so many records with St. Jude's Hospital. If you guys do not know, now the numbers are officially in. He had a last 24-hour live stream last week, raising over $350,000 in the first 4 hours, over $600,000 for the charity in the 24-hour stream allotted time. And overall throughout 2018, guys, numbers are in, breaking $1.3 million. He is the single largest donor in terms of stream donations to a charity throughout the entire year. And honestly, going back in the records books, he might be even a bigger donor than that in terms of the past decade on Twitch. He might be breaking the all-time record for donations acquired. It is absolutely stunning what this guy has done. Absolutely crazy to see the amounts that you guys have risen through him as well. And it's great to see a guy give back as much as he has, and that's definitely a feat worth mentioning for 2018, guys. And that's going to be it for Fortnite news throughout this year. I hope you guys all enjoy. As always, my name is Jake. I'll be back here in 2019 to hopefully share more news and drama with all of you guys. If you guys did enjoy, do me a favor, leave a like. More importantly, leave a comment down below, and I will be back here in a couple days to share the more news with all of you guys. But as always, I'll see you then.